carefully. Chinese are ruling the Chinese land. Japan is ruled by Japanese. England is governed by Englishmen. America is governed by Americans. So, Africa must be ruled by Africans. Oh, I want to know who owns the land. We must rule from Cape to Cairo. We must rule our purpose land. I say, we want to know who owns the land. I want to know who owns the land. Hey, for first
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for tuning in once more today for News Talk. It's always a privilege to come to you with information, update information on the crusade for a free and independent Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Thank you for tuning in tonight. We're going to be talking about the kind of conference, the All Ambazonia Conference that Ambazonians want, the people want. We also will be looking into the abductions, the rapes, and the tortures in Bali, in Kumba, and in Mato, and many other subjects. I have a very powerful talking point or monologue that I bring to you today. So please stay tuned, and as usual, I expect you to go ahead, quickly hit your share button. Let us have at least 700 people tune in by way of Facebook today. Please don't touch your remote. I will be right back. Just stay put. In 1 minute, 1 second, I will be back. right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for staying put. Please, as usual, go ahead and hit your share button. We have a very, very exciting broadcast today, and I won't want anybody out there to miss it. Please hit your share button and send out the link. Send out the link on Facebook and WhatsApp, every social media group that you can find out there in that which you belong to. Again, tonight, we're going to be looking into quite a number of events taking place on ground zero. We're going to be talking about their so-called senatorial elections, the Sham senatorial elections. We're going to be talking about the abductions and the rapes in Bali, in Kumba, in Mato. We're going to be talking about that. We also will be talking about what is going on. What lessons, ladies and gentlemen, can we learn with the treatment of Nzogo, somebody, the assassinated journalist in La Republic du Cameroon? What can we learn from his treatment and the treatment of our own Samuel Wazizi, who was killed in a very brutal manner by the same forces in La Republic du Cameroon in their detention center? What can we learn from that? I will start with that tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And I have to come to that subject because somebody has written a piece that is making the rounds in the social media, and that piece is coming from one of our own in Kondenge. I have forgotten the name. The name is on and off my memory, but that piece came from one of our own in Kondenge, and he has painted a picture, a good picture of what happened to Samuel Wazizi, a reporter on our side of the Mongol, picked up, ladies and gentlemen, by the Cameroon security forces, taken to Yaoundé and beaten to death. Not just beaten, but torture, excruciating torture to death. And what this comrade in Kondenge has written is sad. Is sad, very uncomfortable to read through. And this is the image of Wazizi that I would love all of you to see. This is Wazizi, the man I am talking about, the journalist I am talking about, the journalist who has been refused justice, the journalist who has been refused justice, ladies and gentlemen, because he is Ambazonian. Because he is Ambazonian. I like to read to you what this comrade put out there. I like to read what this comrade put out there. Let me see, I can locate that piece. Give me a second here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see, I can locate that piece. But the person you find on the screen there is Samuel Wazizi, the journalist, Amba journalist, killed, ladies and gentlemen, in the hands of La République du Cameroun officials in a very cruel and brutal manner. How that we are going to learn a lesson, the way Francophones have treated theirs and the way they have treated ours. They always want us to believe we are brothers. But when brothers have been killed for 6 years, brothers and sisters have been killed in the most brutal manner continuously for 6 years, our brothers haven't as much as done anything. But when one of theirs is cut down, I am referring here to the journalist, when he is cut, is it Nzogo? I don't remember the name, I don't pronounce those names that really good. But when their own are shut down, we have seen all the hell let loose, and actually some of theirs are now in jail to pay for the death of their son, of their own journalist. But as far as ours is concerned, no, zero. Nothing is heard about it. Nothing is seen about it. A lot of public people, they do nothing. Now, I'd like to read a paragraph from, again, this comrade in Kondenge. The name is going off my head who wrote this piece. He says, when our brother Samuel Abunwe Aka Samuel Wazizi, renowned Southern Cameroon's journalist and TV host, the person you find again on your screen there, was arbitrarily arrested or kidnapped in Boya by elements of the Cameroon Military and Central Intelligence Service, headed by Maxime Iko Leopold, now incarcerated in Yaoundé principal prison. He is now actually in Kondenge. Now, don't forget, this is the same guy who abducted Sisiko and Tasang Wilfred and the others in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, take note of that. This Iko guy is the same guy who abducted Sisiko and Tasang Wilfred and Fongalamfo and the rest, and all the Naira 10, ladies and gentlemen. He is the one who picked them up in Nigeria. He orchestrated the whole thing, and now he is living next door to where Sisiko is. This is a case of karma or nemesis. That's what is happening there. But this is what this comrade writes. He says, now incarcerated in the Kondenge prison for the murder of Francophone Cameroonese journalist Martinez Zogo. That is the name. He was supposed to benefit from the presumption of innocence for whatever charges were levied against him and arraigned to prison pending trial. But that did not happen. Now, he is here referring to Samuel Wazizi. He was supposed to arrange for trial, of course. No, that did not happen. But this is what happened. He writes, Samuel Wazizi was tortured commando style, using the butt end of their guns, the pounds on his head, with deadly heat and force, punching and kicking him mercilessly. After tons and rounds of waterboarding him, they resorted to using cutlasses to lacerate, to tear apart, ladies and gentlemen, his body, leaving huge cuts on his body. Again, the comrade, the journalist, that is the one I am showing you on the screen there. Please hit your share button. I want to see these numbers get up highest today. Hit your share button. Now, he continues. He was beaten mercilessly and his body cut into, but that did not happen. I'm sorry, I missed the paragraph. After tons and rounds of waterboarding him, they resorted to using cutlasses to lacerate his body, leaving huge cuts, and in the pool of his own blood, they forced him to drink their urine. French Cameroon torturers forced him, after torturing him, cutting him with cutlasses, ladies and gentlemen, they forced him to drink their urine. But that is not all, and that isn't the worst. Now he continues, and eat his own excrement. They forced him to eat his own excrement. They then resorted to pinching of his fingernails. You know how they can cut your fingernails bit by bit until it gets into your flesh to produce the most pain you can imagine, you can think of. That's what they did. So he says, they forced him to drink their urine and eat his own excrement. They then resorted to pinching off his finger and toenails before cutting off his index fingers. So they started with the nails and got onto the fingers, began cutting off the index fingers, every one of those fingers, on both hands, he says. Wazizi cried and wailed. No one came to his rescue. No one, he said, even tried to stop his torturers. Not even Eko, ladies and gentlemen, the supervisor who had, and he says, have always had the powers to determine how his elements comport themselves in the southern Cameroon's conflict. Moments after torturing him, he writes, the Cameroon military then picked up an iron rod. They picked up an iron rod, one as large as a baseball bat. You know what a baseball bat? A baseball bat is essentially as thick as my hand here. You can imagine that. So, one as large and thick as a baseball bat, and forced it through Wazizi's anus, brutally perforating his intestines. Then they obliged him, they forced him to sit on the iron rod in the squatting position, thereby leaving him in inexplicable trauma and pain, which immediately proposed him into a coma. Without pulling out the iron rod from his anus, they tied his hands and strapped the rope to the trunk of a military car, which, in other words, they essentially tied him to the trunk of their military car, and on high speed dragged him, pulled him on the ground for about a kilometer, ladies and gentlemen, shredding his body into several pieces. Wazizi died miserably. Wazizi died miserably. And that is the reason, he writes, the government of Cameroon disposed of what remained of Wazizi's body. That is the reason up till today. The remains of Wazizi have never been found because of the nature, the destructive nature they left on his body. And they have refused to show or hand over even the grave to the family. Wherever they buried him, nobody knows where he was buried up to today. The evidence will have been outrightly flagrant, the evidence of the torture he means. The Cameroon government, he writes, brutally sodomized and assassinated Wazizi. An Ambazonian military eyewitness recounted. An Ambazonian military eyewitness is the one giving this account about this brother, this comrade, Samuel Wazizi. Like in the case of the French Cameroon journalist Zogo, ladies and gentlemen, this comrade was tortured in the most brutal way and left to die in the course of the torture. And because the body had fallen into parts, into pieces, they had to join it together to bury somewhere. Nobody knows where he was buried. Nobody ever saw him. And the French Cameroon army is not there to give account of what happened. The family does not know where the grave is. But let me say this. This isn't what is important in this story. The story is not just about the torture of this young man, as gruesome as it may be. The point I am trying to drive home to every Ambazonian is this. We saw how all of the Francophone community, La République du Cameroun community, they rose up to fight for the killing of Nzogo, the other Francophone journalist. And people have actually now been pulled behind bars. We saw the Francophone community standing up to fight for that one journalist, that one reporter. But in the case of Wazizi, as gruesome as the description of his murder appears to be, no one person, not even the media houses in Ambazonia, the so-called Guardian Post, all the Ambazonian newspapers and television stations, even the one that Samuel Wazizi was reporting for, they have not cared as much as taking up that case and determining to find out where he was buried and how he was killed. But on the Francophone side, they stood up for theirs. Of course, if we are indeed brothers, as I want all of us to believe, if we are brothers, if Francophones and Anglophones, as they like to call us, the assimilation language, if they want us to believe we are brothers and sisters, don't you think that they ought to be standing up also and demanding that Wazizi be produced? If he cannot be produced, let the grave be produced for the family to have a closure on that matter. No, they have not. They have not. It is all about their own journalist, Zogo. And Eko is now behind bars. And the other one, Amugu, is it Belinda? He is also behind bars. And I am pretty sure, of course, the whistleblower has stated that Eko supervised the killing of Samuel Wazizi. And he is now behind bars. We are hoping that the government in La République du Cameroon will put out a formal report. Being that they have Eko behind bars, we hope that the damn government of La République du Cameroon will put out a formal report detailing the whereabouts of Samuel Wazizi. If he is nowhere to be found, I guess also they should put out a report telling us how he died and where he was buried. We're looking forward to that report. And the people on ground zero, like the Agbobalas and so on, who claim to run all these human rights organizations, all these, what do they call them? Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International. We're calling upon you, sirs. It is incumbent upon you to investigate and tell the public how Wazizi was killed and where he is buried. I want to hear from Agbobala his findings, if he has any. And if he has any, why has he, his organization, a human rights organization in that matter, been keeping it for this long? We want to know about what happened to Samuel Wazizi. And if you call yourself, your organization, a human rights group, we want to hear from you. And I bet you we will promote your report if we find one. We will promote your report. But that is not the most important point here. The take-home message here, ladies and gentlemen, is this. If Ambazonians refuse to fight and think that you rush back and stay with La République du Cameroon, what happened to Samuel Wazizi and others is only a good, clear example of what will befall you if after all these years, you think that let's just go back and live as one country, one people under the leadership of La République du Cameroon. If they can pick up our own, treat them in this manner, kill them in this manner, bury them and not even let the family to know where the remains are, ladies and gentlemen, when this war is over and La République du Cameroon, God forbid, win this war, we will receive the worst treatment. We will receive the worst treatment. I am warning every Ambazonian. Yes, war is not good. War is bad. People are killed. People die. But we are fighting for something better that will preserve your dignity and the integrity of our own country. A country in which nobody will arrest you for no reason. A country in which nobody will stop you for any reason. A country in which you face the law before being crucified. A country in which everybody has equal rights. A country in which there are no big people and small people. A country in which everybody is considered to be the same. That is the Ambazonia we are fighting for. In a few days, a few weeks to come, I am putting together a graphic picture of the vision of Ambazonia, the kind of Ambazonia that we are fighting for. And I believe if you are standing on the peripheries, you will come in. If we do not fight and win this fight, the story of Wazizi will only just add to the record. When this war is over, if this war is over, listen to the sound of my voice. If this war is over without us winning it and having power and authority over our own territory, what you see in the case of Wazizi, ladies and gentlemen, Wazizi's case will amount to nothing, because they were daily La République terrorist soldiers acting like maquisards. They will on a daily basis come into your neighborhood, pick you up one after the other, take it not to Boyan, not to Bamenda. They will take you to Mbunda or Bafosa or Nkong Samba or Douala or Yaoundé, where they will dump you somewhere and nobody will have the authority to question them. If in the course of war, a conflict they should be rushing to settle, they are picking up people and torturing them like this. You know, my sister was taken over there. Would you imagine, ladies and gentlemen, a woman was waterboarded. My sister was waterboarded. As if that was not enough, they took her into their torture chamber, tie her legs together, and two women climbed on it, and one other woman was busy using a cutlass, ladies and gentlemen, to hit the sole of her legs. A woman. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have to win this war, else we have set ourselves for extinction through the torture that we will receive from La République du Cameroon. If this war is over without us having our own country again, La République du Cameroon, they will descend into Bamenda, into Boya, Victoria, Le BLM. Oh, our fighters who are trying to defend Ambazonia, they will all be killed. They will all be killed. They will all be killed. We cannot allow this to happen. We must fight this war and win it. That should be our determination, nothing else. As if we think that we have seen marginalization, if we think that we have seen discrimination, if you think we have seen abuses, you have not yet seen it. Because when it is over, and a lot of people to come around feels like they have win, they will do everything to make sure your children never try this again for their lives. They will make sure your children never go to try it again for their lives. This war is ours to win, and we must win, ladies and gentlemen. And every one of you must be part of it, especially if you are on ground zero and you in the diaspora. It is our war to win. I hear some people out there telling us, oh, you know, you guys are not doing what. I hate when people just sit there and throw stones, and yet you ask them, what is your level of participation and contribution? You don't see it. I have had opportunity to talk to certain Ambazonians who have the money that they can spare for this war, just for us to win, and they say, oh no, I don't want to give you money if there is no plan. What plan are we talking about? The plan is to win Ambazonia. We will not give you strategy before you think you can support your own country. We're not going to do that. So please, this is a do or die issue. We must win this war, as the story of Samuel Wazizi and others who have been picked up. We just set the example of what lies ahead. If La République du Cameroon should win this war. But that is not the only thing that is happening, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of things are going on. We hear of our people being picked up randomly. We have heard of this happening in Bali, We heard that in a secondary school? They call the place, is it in Tato? Or I don't get it right, really good. Inside Bali, ladies and gentlemen, people are being picked up. Our young girls, young women, teenagers are being picked up and raped and tortured by La République du Cameroon's soldiers. Now you look at this old woman here, Alan. This lady is 85 years old. That lady is 85 years old. She was picked up. She was also picked up, I think, in Bali, and her whereabouts remain unknown. Now, this is added to the dozens of others who were also picked up by Cameroon soldiers in Bali. Young girls are being abducted and they are being raped. Again, young girls are being abducted and they are being raped. This is happening all over the place. All over the place. And so we want Ambazonians to take note of what is going on, even in the course of this war. La République du Cameroon has no remorse. Absolutely no remorse. And let me assure you, if anybody out there thinks that La République du Cameroon is preparing to go out for negotiations, no, they are not preparing to go out for negotiations. A country that wants peace, a country that wants justice, doesn't do what La République du Cameroon is doing, using her army, picking up old women like this one, 85 years old, picked up, ladies and gentlemen, because her adult son is fighting and defending his country, Ambazonia. They tried that with me, and they tried that with Field Marshal. You remember that? They picked up my sister, they picked up my mother, they killed my father, they burnt down our compound. They hope that Chris, Anu, and Field Marshal will leave the struggle, they will surrender. We refuse to surrender because it is not about us. It is about the generations that lie ahead. We don't care if we're not going to reap anything out of this fight, out of this struggle. But tomorrow, the people that live, the youth that live, the young people that live, the generation that comes after us, they will remember somebody fought for them. They cannot forget. They will never forget. Even if we are not remembered in any format, the young people, the next generation, they will always remember somebody fought for them. And that is why we are doing this, ladies and gentlemen. And we have to do it with all selflessness that we can afford. They are arresting our people, hoping that we surrender, We are not, again, we are not going to surrender. What you are seeing there happen in Mato, our young boys, they are picked up in their numbers. These young boys, I have learned, they were out playing football. And La République du Cameroon soldiers invaded the playing field, the football field, pick up all these people. Now they put all these half tanks that we see and generators, having them carry generators to send, to lie, to cover up, to tell the international community they were Amba fighters. No, those were not Amba fighters. These boys were picked up from the football field. And I'm wondering why their mothers are still sitting home and they are not going out and demanding that their children be released to them. We cannot allow this impunity just go on and on and on. The local people have to begin to stand up for their own children. That is just what we have to do. The local people have to begin to stand up for their own children. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the only way. That is the only way. We are going to send a message to La République du Cameroon that we are ready to stand for ourselves and defend our land and our people until we see the end of this war. I'll be right back. Stay put. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for staying put. Now, having said that, I will like to talk a little bit about lockdown. Since 2 weeks ago, we started announcing from the interim government here that we are not calling for lockdown in view of the upcoming Sham so-called senatorial elections. We were particularly focused on their elections. We just had no idea that so-called Women's Day was planned for Ambazonian. In fact, we didn't know there was anything coming up like a Women's Day. And so we just did not think about this Women's Day celebration in the La Republic, and which is why you did not see us say anything. You didn't see us say anything about the Women's Day, about lockdown for the Women's Day. We were only focused on talking about lockdown, about their elections. So, we want to thank those of you who went out, called for the lockdown in view of this Women's Day, and those of you who actually stayed home not to participate in that sham. Everything La Republic does now, is to send a message. Again, and that message is, the war is over. Look at Anglo-fools. That's exactly what they have in their minds. Anglo-fools, look at Anglo-fools. They say there is war. Some others say there is war. A few misguided individuals. I remember when I was in Cass Banbeli, I wrote an article that appeared in the newspaper, and also rallied students to march into Bamenda from Bambili, and the principal got wind of it and called me to his office and said, "You lunatic." He came to the General Assembly and told the students without calling my name and said, "A few misguided students are trying to convince you to stage a rally to Bamenda. Don't follow them." That's what the principal did, referring to me. So, but that is what La Republic of Cameroon is trying to get the world to believe, that only a few misguided separatists in the diaspora are fomenting trouble on the ground, and they can present pictures like this one for the world to see and believe them that everything is okay. Everything is okay. They want the world to believe when they see stage march past like this one in Indian. And ladies and gentlemen, believe me, these women you see were paid and brought into India to stage this march past. And they were actually given money. They were given money. But you know what? I won't blame them a lot. Because sometimes, let's be frank to ourselves. Let's be frank with ourselves. Some of these things are happening because leaders, so-called leaders in this struggle, are getting the fighters out of their communities. They are paying for the fighters to get out of their communities. That is why Indian is turning out to be what it is today. John Gute and so-called diaspora leaders are paying for the fighters to leave. And that is why you see Indian is taking shape there, and these sycophants, cronies of La Republic of Cameroon, staging marches like this one to send a message that Indian is finally back, and so the BLM should be back, and so Meme should be back, and so Bui should be back, and so Boyo should be back, and so Momo should be back, and so Mezam should be back, Meme, and so on and so forth. That message is having no legs. It will have no legs. Ambazonians, listen to me today. When we are in a fight like this one, it is not everybody who will conform at the same time. No, all people will not conform at the same time. But some will conform, and the moment others conform, the line-up takes over. others begin to conform, and that is what we are expecting. We are expecting to see. Indian can do whatever they want to do. Places like in Comrade, they can do whatever they want to do. But I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that we don't care if they carry out 10 billions march passes and the Republic of Cameroon send the images across the world. If we are left only two of us without signing a peace treaty that gives Ambazonia her freedom, this war would not have been over yet. Again, this war would not have been over yet. Cameroon can have 6 of the 13 counties. That doesn't mean they have Ambazonia or control Ambazonia. Until they are able to control the 13 counties, they do not control Ambazonia, ladies and gentlemen. So we should not be worried about when we see little black legs paid with money to go out and stage march passes like this one that we'll find in India, and you will also see it in places like in Comrade. When you see this, don't be worried. We will get there. I have told every one of you, if you left your home, stay where you are, because you go back, your life will be destabilized again, because this war is not over tomorrow. It is not over tomorrow. All right. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I will take you to my main subject of the day, which is my talking point. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, I didn't know that I was muted. But let me say this again, that the lockdown, we didn't call for a lockdown. However, we are monitoring every voting station. And some of those those elections are not actually taking place on Saturday or Friday. We'll know exactly when those elections are taking place. We know exactly when they are taking place, and we are monitoring every one of them. So we encourage you, stay home if you can. Stay home if you can. don't go out and fall victim. And by the way, you are not even made to vote. You are not the voters. It's a select few that are going to vote. I understand that all of their councillors are going to be voted. That's why we call it a sham election. How do you organize senatorial elections? Senators that should be representing the people, and the people don't have the right to vote. It doesn't happen anywhere. Paul Biya alone will appoint how many percent? Is it 70% or 30% of the senators? He will handpick them. And they will want you to believe they will represent you. Not in Ambazonia. Ambazonia has no senators, no representatives in the foreign country. So we have outlawed every one of them who stands for a French Cameroon election, and those councillors so-called, we are observing you. We are observing you, and you have no place. You have absolutely no place in Ambazonia. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will now take you into my talking point about what I titled the subject. I titled One People, One Conference. Again, One People, One Conference. That is the subject of my talking point to you today. And please keep on hitting that share button. By now, most of you must have seen or read a statement that is making the rounds in the social media coming from a few individuals who suppose that matters relating to the salvation of Ambazonia should be settled under their exclusive direction. The statement calls for a conference of all Ambazonians and adds that the conveners, the Big Four as they would love to be called, are responsible for convening it. However, members of the Big Four or Big Five seem to have grown by one per the number of signatures on the statement in question. The Big Four have arrogated to themselves the title of conveners instead of allowing all or most of Ambazonian leaders to do the convening. State that they are kickstarting the conference with a tour of some Ambazonian communities in the diaspora. The tour is meant to peddle Ambazonians to buying the idea of the conference. The conveners of this conference also say they want to build unity and collaboration among Ambazonian groups and chart the way forward for Ambazonia in the event of any negotiations. The Canadian process is very much at the center of this conference that is being called by a few. The idea of this conference, ladies and gentlemen, isn't a bad thing at all. It has been long awaited, especially when it is intended to explore issues relating to unity, collaboration, and negotiations. All along from day number one of becoming the leader of the interim government, I have preached and championed this idea of unity and collaboration among the leadership and stakeholders in this fight for independence. And I will continue to do so in spite of all the odds. A meeting of this nature, a conference of this nature, that should bring everybody, everyone, or say the major groups together, cannot be a bad idea. It is the right thing to do, and again, Ambazonians have long been waiting for it. However, The bad thing about this Big Four conference is how they seem resolved to go about it. Anything that has to do with the collective interests of Ambazonia cannot be seen to want to be owned by an individual or a handful of them. Foundation to the end has to be about collective bargaining and collective interests. The date for this conference has been announced and changed several times. First, the venue was going to be Canada. Then, a few weeks later, we learned that it has been moved to Ghana. The month as initially announced was April, but according to the latest statement, the conference has been moved for some time in July. Who is making these decisions? If they want anybody to believe that the conference is being planned by Ambazonian leaders, who is making the decisions? Again, don't get me wrong. The importance and urgency of this conference cannot be overemphasized. However, the way the Big Four or Five are trying desperately to run away with and to own it constitutes a major problem. A major problem. You would think that the conveners of this conference, considering the effort and consultations that this interim government has made in efforts to bring everybody together, have consulted with the IG, the interim government. No, they did not. They have not. And they are already busy creating some committees in which they hope to invite others to join. That is the wrong way to go. It is not correct. The way to go, therefore, is to get all the leaders, and I mean all the leaders of the different groups and stakeholders on the table, sit around the table. They discuss the when and the how of the conference, and then, if need be, put up the different committees needed. All the leaders should be disposed to shaping the nature and the content of these pre-tours. 2. The pre-tours agenda should not be left in the hands of a few people to decide. All the leaders, and I mean all the leaders or most of them, should know the content or the message of those pre-tours so that nobody is embarrassed with the questions they have to answer after. Then, if we don't do that, we would all have become accomplices. When the Canadians indicated their intention to take up the negotiation process, I personally reached out to some of the leaders and those leaders who had sat in those meetings with Cameroon in Canada. I didn't only indicate the intention of the interim government to endorse the Canadian process. I passed over to them suggestions or proposals that we had deliberated upon here at the interim government's cabinet. The suggestions sounded so good in their ears that they said they did run with it. The interim government suggested that we convene an emergency meeting of all the group leaders and stakeholders, deliberate on the Canadian process first. That is the way to approach it. Then, from there, we agree on a date for a physical meeting of all the leaders. A meeting in which we should be able to decide our agenda and strategy engaging in the Canadian process. The emphasis here was against any idea of having to go to sit in the Canadian process as groups. Bad idea. The idea was that we call for a meeting or a conference of all the leaders. They all come together and we formulate our agenda and manner of approach to the process, the negotiation process. No one group should be allowed to go sit in there on behalf of Ambazonia, was the point. The group thing should be forbidden. The groups, once in the meeting or conference, will then have to figure out the process of choosing the experts who represent Ambazonia during the negotiations. The catch is to prevent groups or individual leaders from being easily infiltrated or bought over by the enemy. We all know how La République du Cameroon operates. They may easily buy some of these leaders with chicken change to the effect that they begin working as proxies for La République du Cameroon during that negotiation process. We don't want that to happen. If we all come together and pick our experts who sit there representing none of the groups but Ambazonia, experts who then cannot enter into any direct deal without consulting with Ambazonian leaders, everything you can imagine, everything would run smoothly, void of rancor and any suspicions. Where the conference that is being pitched at this moment is going wrong is in the idea of a few people, a few individuals, actually people with very questionable resumes throughout the 6 years of this war, appearing to want to own and run away with the process instead of consulting with all leadership, getting everybody to sit around the table to discuss and agree on the direction. They seem to be unilaterally deciding the modus operandi of the conference. For example, they already have picked the date and picked the venue without adequate consultation with the leaders. They just want some leaders to come on board just so they can serve for the statistics, I guess. Their statement states that other groups will be invited along the way. And we say, hell no, that is not correct. It is wrong. All groups are supposed to be convened, not invited along the way. The agenda isn't and shouldn't be some group's agenda. It should be Ambazonia's own agenda. And if the conveners mean well, a meeting of all the groups should be the priority now. And I mean now, that is, before any conference. When people feel a sense of entitlement to a process or a cause, and you invite them to some conference that is supposed to have collective ownership, you are simply inviting them to come there as observers, as spectators, and not as stakeholders with a sense of entitlement. This is what is wrong with the Canada or Ghana conference, Canadian or Ghana conference they are calling now. This egomaniac attitude of me, and my group first is what caused the divisiveness in our liberation movement and diverted the attention of some of our comrades from the liberation of Ambazonia to the liberation of some leaders and their groups. The time has come for us to fix these wrongs. Again, the moment has come for these wrongs to be fixed. I have no doubt in my mind that this conference is being hastily announced and dates and venues are being changed constantly only because they learn of the interim government's readiness to spearhead an all-inclusive conference in Washington, D.C. in May. But that is not the problem. If they do things the right way, transparently and selflessly, the interim government and the unity platform have absolutely, I believe, no problem combining the two conferences to make one. We are one people. We should have one conference, and that is the spirit. This is what the interim government has proposed. These proposals were sent to every legitimate leader in this fight or struggle for Ambazonian independence, including some stakeholders. After this presentation, I shall be asking the Department of Communication to make available to the public the proposal that the interim government sent out, I think 3 weeks or so ago. But here is what the interim government proposed in the summary. All the groups come together, each group maintaining its independence. We form a leadership council. The leadership council be made up of representatives from all the groups, including group leaders. The leadership council then sits down and figures out areas the groups can collaborate in. We suggested, for example, the area of communication, humanitarian, that has to do with refugees, diplomacy, including negotiations, defense, and the security of Ground Zero, among others. Again, I will send the statement out, the proposal out. For leadership of the council, the groups we propose take turns and lead for either 6 months or 1 year at the maximum. The leader does not execute his group agenda, nor his own agenda. He is there to execute only the program that the council would have approved. If leadership rotates, no one group, no matter how large or small, can be seen to be domineering other groups. For funding, we propose that the council restricts itself to special projects. They can either be funded through joint fundraisers or each group chipping in its own due for the project. As for negotiations or diplomacy, we propose that the council should be in the place to research expert negotiators who should represent Ambazonia in any future talks, Canada or no Canada, any talks. The expert negotiators report to the council and are responsible to it and not to any one group. Again, for the first time, we will have that proposal published for the record. This document we wrote from the interim government is out there in the hands of all the leaders, all the legitimate leaders. They have all commended the fairness of it, at least for those who have cared to respond to it. They all agree that it is the right approach. The unity platform is refining it right now, and it has actually voted for an All Amba Conference for May the 25th through the 27th in Washington, D.C. They shall be coming up here on this channel to talk about that a little bit. But do not be mistaken, ladies and gentlemen. Do not be mistaken. If others agree, we can combine this. I like to state it emphatically once more, as I have done in the past, that no one group is going to negotiate Ambazonia's independence. None. Dig it off your psyche. In fact, any group thinking that it alone can do so has another agenda. And I do not believe that agenda is an independence agenda. If people have nothing to hide, If leaders don't want to cut corners and make reprehensible deals with the enemy, then common sense dictates that many heads reason better than one. I call upon every one of you, every Ambazonian out there, push for a conference that is all-inclusive. A conference where all groups draw and own the agenda. A conference that sets a genuine unity and collaboration strategy. A conference that sets Ambazonia's agenda up high from individuals' agenda, especially when it concerns negotiations leading to independence. A true Ambazonia conference, we will not engage, and when I say we, I mean we here at the interim government will not engage in any collective conference in which resolutions are tele-guided through the back door. We will not. Mark us absent. Ambazonians, this is your fight. We'll call it struggle. If you allow selfish people and egomaniacs to own the process and to run with it, we may just well be heading in the direction that Muna and Foncha left us. If a person would travel all the way from another country to another country, all by himself, to mortgage our resources, does your conscience convict you that such a person should not be allowed to teleguide the negotiation process for your freedom? I guess your answer is as good as mine. And that is my talking point, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, I don't know whether we have been attacked here or what, I don't know. We're intermittently going off and on Facebook, but thank you for sitting in there. I will now bring in my guest for tonight. I have with me Comrade Injiban and Comrade the Honorable Sama Thomas joining me from Belgium. Comrade, it's good to see you.
Good afternoon, Comrade Chris.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It appears that Comrade Injiban has a frozen screen here. I hope he is able to reconnect. Okay, I think he is reconnected right now. Comrade Injiban, it's a great pleasure to have you on board this broadcast, sir. All right, let us delve into the subject.
Yeah, Comrade Chris, how are you, sir?
I am doing excellent, Comrade. Good to see you. Let us.
It seems you are muted. Comrade Chris, it seems you are muted.
Oh, all right. Thank you. I hope you can hear me now. Again, thank both of you for showing up. I want to believe that you both listened to my talking point, a little bit long, but I suppose it captures the point we are going to discuss. And I will start with you, Comrade Sama Thomas. You have put out some audio messages talking about this conference that is being talked about out there by they say the big four. Now I think they are now big fives, whatever name they give to themselves. Tell me if I am wrong in my articulation that I have put out a few minutes ago.
Comrade Chris, you were just on point, because any Southern Cameroonian that is conscious of himself and has seen the suffering of our people and the plea being made by the international community that we should come together and speak like one man so that they can now come in to intervene on our behalf. If you still think you can be thinking like we were in 2018, then you are not ready for us to go to Boya. For I think we've suffered in our fragmented nature for too long a time, and our people are dying as a consequence of our actions. So if you are not pitying our people on the ground, then you are not ready to go to Boya. And I would also like to add, Comrade Chris, that the principal actors of this division in the Southern Cameroon struggle, my brother Dr. Ayabacho and Dr. Akonga, when we were back home, they were accusing Dr. Fo and the SCNC that they are old people and cannot lead them. They do not want an armed struggle in this struggle, which I told them then that we should allow the SCNC to do duty. If they are in diplomacy, we should allow them go about with diplomacy. We will go about with the armed struggle, while the two will blend each other. If it comes to negotiations, the SCNC can go for it while we stay in the bushes. But these guys never listen to that advice. Today, these guys are now calling themselves doctors and have refused to reason as doctors. But they are reasoning like, I don't know, some aliens in the bush or animals in the bush that have no sense of direction. All they can do is my interest, as I must be called CIC. Why should I be called CIC, of which I'm not yet in the Southern Cameroons? Must I be the one called CIC before I can fight for the liberation of the Southern Cameroons? Let me tell my brothers, these my two brothers, Ayabacho and Dr. Akwanga, that they are playing the role of Andre Marimbida and Babatunde Amadou Ahijo, who sold La Republique at the detriment of all and betrayed Marimbida to go and accept partial independence, that France will control La Republique economically, while the assistant director general manager of the firm will be calling himself Mr. Babatunde Ahijo, president of La Republic of Cameroon, of which he was never the president. So these two guys are playing the role of Amadou Ahijo to betray the Southern Cameroons in that manner, which Ahijo betrayed La Republic of Cameroon. If Southern Cameroons are not seeing it, let me re-echo it for everybody to reason and keep this in mind, so that our people must not be sold in advance before the independence of the Southern Cameroons is ever achieved. We should come together and talk like one man, negotiate our independence like one man, so that nobody should betray the other. If there is any blame to be laid, we should say we blame ourselves, other than pointing fingers at each other, that you were the one who betrayed us. So if you don't want to be pointed a finger for betraying the rest, climb down on your high horse and let us do the right thing now before it is too late. I yield. You are muted, Comrade Chris. You are muted.
You're still muted.
We cannot hear you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you never can predict what happens in the course of these broadcasts. The microphone suddenly went off, and we just cannot explain why it did so. But somehow, I guess you are able to hear me. If you can hear me, we're gonna try it this way. Let me get back to you, Comrade Sama. It appears that we lost Comrade Injiban. As you heard me in my presentation, the one problem that we've had in this struggle, liberation struggle, is the me and me and me and me and me factor. And we are seeing it leading up to any possible mediation process, with people running around and giving the impression that they alone can secure an independent Ambazonia from any negotiation table. And when you look at some of these characters, these are characters that Ambazonia really do not trust. We have said, we here at the interim government, we have said, let's have every Ambazonian group on the table. The idea that some few individuals would call for the meeting, formulate the agenda, including some tours, create some committees, and they will bring in others along. That is not what Ambazonians want to see, because Ambazonians are very afraid. Ambazonians are very afraid. Some people may just be out to hand this thing into the hands of La République du Cameroon at the end of the day. Are these the fears you are seeing out there?
Let me put it this way, so that Southern Cameroonians can understand it the more, Comrade Chris. When France was about to give independence to La République du Cameroon, the leader of La République du Cameroon then was André Marimbida. But what André Marimbida was demanding at that point in time was in line with the UPC, that France should give La République du Cameroon independence without reservation. France knew that if they give independence to La République with André Marimbida as the leader, then France is completely out of the picture. What France did was that they had to sideline Marimbida, brought in a puppet called Amadou Ahidjo, who came in and signed the Coopération d'Accord de Paris, handing over all La République's resources to France, handing over every economic aspect of La République Cameroon to France, and whatever they left beneath their soil in the name of minerals to France, and returning political power, not really absolute political power, but the leader of La République must be that which the French choose should be. What I am afraid that is coming from my brother, Dr. Che Ayaba and Dr. Akwanga, is they are playing into that same playbook of André Marimbida and Amadou Ahidjo to betray and sell the people of the Southern Cameroons for a half-baked bread to somebody we do not know yet. Maybe it's La République that will give you independence, but will return the economic independence of the Southern Cameroons. Do you accept that is the role these my brothers are playing? That is why they do not want to see any genuine collaboration in this struggle. But my advice to them today is that, please, if you guys really want us to go to Boya, if you pity the suffering of our people on the ground, the killing of our people on the ground, we should climb down from our high horses, sit as a people, and talk like one man, and face the enemy like one man. For it is said that united we stand, and divided we fall. What will be your interest If you go it all alone and you fail, than us coming together and succeeding. This is the fundamental question that a person like Dr. Ayaba Anakwanga should be able to answer the people of us. For that is what we want and not what they want. Any leader who thinks in this struggle of today that he can dictate to the people of Southern Cameroon is making a fundamental mistake. For all of us, our eyes are widely open, checking every move that each and everyone is taking. And we can also deduce from your statements that what you are saying is right or wrong. Where are you leading us to? We will determine it from your actions. Thank you.
Yeah, and one thing is also sure, I don't think the Canadians or anybody who wants to engage La République du Cameroon and us in a negotiation would want to see a few individuals come to go to that conference saying they represent Ambazonia, knowing that the overwhelming majority of Ambazonians do not endorse of their presence there, isn't it?
Well, that is 100% true. But who knows what the white man can do? For they are very, very cunning. Though the Canadians might be calling the people of Southern Cameroon for a negotiation. They told up their interest, which they want to defend tomorrow. And if they call these guys, whom they call leaders, and they negotiate with them, that this is going to be my own share of the Southern Cameroon's natural wealth, do you accept? If you accept, okay, I endorse you as a leader, and we move from there. Maybe that is what Dr. Ayaba Anakwanga are struggling to do, and that's why I'm raising an alarm for all Southern Cameroonians to be aware of that action, so that they shouldn't say they didn't know. But, like it is said, we should condemn the attitude of leaders going for any negotiations with anybody. When that time comes, we should constitute a team of experts that will negotiate on behalf, as you've earlier said, Comrade Chris, that will negotiate on behalf of the people of the Southern Cameroons and report to the committee accepted by all the leaders, and not anybody calling himself a leader going to negotiate on our behalf. If that happens, I bet you what the Republic is suffering from today will suffer from it tomorrow.
Now, one of the problems that we are seeing from these guys who are trying to run away with this is the fact that they sat with La République du Cameroon in Canada for almost a month. I think 3 meetings in all. And up to today, as we speak, Ambazonians did not see a statement from them. They never told Ambazonians what they discussed on that table with La République du Cameroon, which is why they are now saying they want to do some pre-tours to inform Ambazonians. You know, that same mentality of trying to own this. Once it becomes a process, yes, you went to Canada, but once it becomes a process, which it wasn't, it becomes an Ambazonian thing, not a group thing, in which is why we insist that everybody come, at least, if not everybody, the majority of the body or the groups that matter, let's get on the table and figure out the approach we want to use. You don't want to be making tours and telling people something that other leaders are not privy to. Because at the end of the day, Ambazonians will come to us and say, you guys said this, you guys said that, you did this, you did that, because they find you on the conference table. But if that is going to happen, if any other leader would have to answer any other question, they should be privy first to what they discuss in Canada. So when a team is constituted to now do these pre-tours, It is not about the people who went there, because it is not about them. It is about Ambazonia. The conference of the leaders pick the team that goes out and do that education, and they are at least privy to what is being put out there, isn't it?
Comrade Chris, before we go to that, the question that keeps on coming to mind is, before going to Canada, what was the agenda for La Republique? Canada was inviting these leaders on behalf of La Republique to come to Canada. But what was the question asked the Canadian government? What was the agenda of this meeting that you are calling us to come and engage in with La Republique Cameroon? Had this agenda was known, they could have put this agenda to the people of Southern Cameroon to find out, is this agenda worthy for us to attend this meeting and debate over these points? But because they went there without an agenda, I think if, and up till today, they are unable to tell us what they discussed in Canada, it therefore means there was nothing discussed in Canada. It was a safari tour that people went there, see each other, maybe ate their own Canadian cheese, who knows? And returned home with nothing. They told us that there was going to be a press conference. That press conference never held. And there's nothing they're going to go around telling Southern Cameroonians. What do you want to go and tell? What do you want to come and tell me? Of which you couldn't tell me over that press conference, which failed. And what happens at that press conference?
Yeah. No, that is the point. That is the point. Now, as I indicated in my talking point, unfortunately, Comrade Njiban has not been able to join the show back, but they've been meeting in meetings over the past 1 month, discussing about a unity conference and what it should look like. And they have discussed the ideas that we from the IG put on the table. Now, what we put on the table were mere proposals. They were not written in stone. And the Unity platform is working on it. Yesterday, they voted in the meeting to host an All Amba Conference in Washington, D.C. come May the 25th to the 27th. However, I made it very clear to the members yesterday that let's keep the doors open to these big four or big five. If they can just agree to be selfless, let unite these two coalitions, sit on one table and discuss the way forward. If they are willing to do this, I bet you we will combine the conferences and speak as one people. That is the idea.
Which is but wonderful. People who holds this struggle at heart will not let go any chance of coming together, sitting together and talk like one man and collaborate for the benefit of the Southern Cameroons. Anybody who will refuse attending such, let me give them the name, they are Big Five, as they want us to call them. We are pleading the Big Five, that if they cannot come to join us, they should put their own agenda out to us. Let it be open that they are not going to prepare an agenda to invite us to come and deliberate on their agenda, but all opinions, we should come together as a people, form a committee, and put those points that we have to discuss over. If what we put out needs to be fleshed by them, they should do the same. If what they have put out, we deem it necessary that there is something we have to add or change, we will do the same and put it back to the Big Five. That the little one, because if the opposite of big is little, that the little one has decided that what he can add is this. Do you accept? From there we merge the little and the big. Maybe create something great that will now suit them to talk as a people before we can move forward. But if they will fail to do just that, then Southern Cameroon should hold Dr. Ayaba, Dr. Akwanga Ebenezer, any Yerima, John Ba Akoro, and whosoever that do not want to come and sit with other comrades to talk like Southern Cameroon is responsible for all the mayhem that is going on back home.
Well, it's interesting that you are mentioning those names. And when you look at the composition of that team, you realize that maybe with the exception of Ayaba, every other body there is a figurehead. I mean, when you mention John Ba Akuro, for instance, he is a big four. You mention others among the big four. And people are quick to ask, where is their following? Who is following them? Yet, they are trying to run away and own this process with no support behind them. How can this be possible?
Comrade Chris, let me not let the cat out of the bag, for it might be too early to do that and scare some people from showing up. Let these guys, first of all, agree that we should come and sit like a united people and talk. On that day that we will talk, when things start moving in line of collaboration or unity, then we will determine whatever who has in his cupboards to put on the table. But for now, let us keep it aside first.
Well, Comrade, we're going to open the phone lines. Comrade Njiban is not, oh, he is back. He is back. Great. Let me get to Comrade Njiban. Comrade, I was just talking about the Unity platform in which you people had a meeting yesterday and voted to host an All Amba Conference beginning May the 25th. Looking at the talking points that I have presented here, do you see a possibility that these two platforms could come together and have one Amba Conference?
Thank you very much, Comrade Chris. I greet you, Comrade Sama. It's been a minute.
You're welcome.
And I greet all Ambazonians, of course. Just for correction, I'm Comrade Chris. It was a slip of the calendar there. You said May 25th. We actually voted for May the 5th through the 7th. So the first weekend of May. May 5th through the 7th of 2023. Now to your question, is it possible for, do I see a possibility where other people would come and sit for the same conference? I'm always hopeful the doors are open. I see that possibility. Now, whether they come or not, that's a different question. But I do see a possibility. If they come, great. If they don't come, the goal of the conference is actually to is not to compete with them or anyone for leadership or all those kind of shit in the past. We are just coming together to hit some kind of a reset, to reconstitute our communities, to give more energy, and to figure out new ways of forging ahead. So it's not going to be, we're not coming to seize anyone's power. We're just coming to make things better for everyone, for ourselves and for everyone.
If you can explain to the audience the modus operandi of this Unity platform conference so that people understand the inclusiveness of that platform, that would be great.
Thank you, Comrade Chris. You and I and others, against all odds, when people said it was impossible, we saw eye to eye and we organized. We have, I guess, a common enemy united us. the president of French Cameroon was coming to Washington D.C. for something called the African U.S. Africa Summit, the White House Africa Summit, which was just like a Berlin conference type. They bring the African leaders in like schoolboys. They lecture them, they placate them, they tell them ways in which they're gonna sell their people and their countries and get loans in the form of foreign aid or development projects. They agree to it, and then U.S. industry comes in or Western industry comes in, pillage the land and ravage the place, send most of us into exile, and then like what they want. So we went to protest the very presence of Mr. Biya there. We agreed on that. We went to Washington. We made it happen. After that protest, which came out successful according to feedback from our people on ground zero and the world over. I said for the first time, we had held a conference and there had not been argument about money. There had not been argument about who is chief and who is subject. There had not been an argument about petty things. So we sat together after the conference for those who were in Washington, and there was an eagerness, there was an urge from our people to meet as soon as people to chart our new way forward without distractions. It is with that authority from the people that they said, okay, we charge this committee with organizing a conference where all the people will meet. And that's just what we are intending to do. So that's the historical background, and that's the path we've traveled. And here we are with the conference date at hand. I do understand that there are conferences, different conferences that have been announced and planned. There was some conference uh, announced by Mother of Southern Countries. I'm not privy to the whole workings and organizations, but I've been hearing about that conference from since about 2019 or 2020. It had COVID came and postponed it and blah blah blah. There were shutdowns. Then there was a resumption of travels. There was a restart on the planning. Just a few days, I saw a communique that has been further postponed for logistical reasons. That's understandable. I saw another conference that the people who so-called went to Canada came out and said there was going to be a conference in April without a date. Then later on, they've officially have posted a date in July of uh, of 2023. I've also seen the activists and now Barata announced a conference of activists in Belgium in April 2023. So there's been a series of conferences being announced and being planned. Uh, Maybe we could get together and synergize and fuse the points that we need to fuse if if the conferences have the same things in common. It just may happen that they are very different conferences and anything in common. In that sense, I would say let everyone proceed with their own conference organization. If the conferences do not have any focal point, if they don't have things that they agree on, or just a common purpose. But if we do have a common purpose, by all means, yes, let's meet. We can always uh, amend things, fix things, bring together, and you know come up with something that's going to be suitable and favorable for the whole of Amazonia. That's what we discussed. That's what we deliberated. Outside of what we deliberated, personally, I think this is personal now. July is too far for a conference for people that are being killed, for people that are being slaughtered, for you know. So, so there was Canada when the end of last year. We didn't hear a thing about it until sometime in February, when Cameroon came and disgracefully said they were not part of anything. There's nothing there. Then we now see the scramble for communication and the announcement of a conference and all of that. Now pushed it by. That means our people back at home have to be sitting ducks. They have to just be targets for La République du Cameroon for the next 6 months. You just have to hopelessly hang in there. You just have to hopelessly be in there and wait till these people come out with the conference in July, and then maybe some boogeyman resolution is going to come out of that that's going to magically solve the problem of Ambazonia. I would say as many conferences as Ambazonians can hold to figure out to chart their way forward, to strategize, to continue to mobilize, to continue to raise funds, to continue to do the work that they need to do to free themselves. Please, by all means, forge those conferences and mobilize those funds and do the work that you need to do to help your people, to save yourselves from the mayhem that La République and the French are exacting on you, on our people, on all of us. Thank you, sir. On mute.
Can hear me now. Comrade Sama, let me get back to you on this question of conferences here and there by every other group. Now you hear about the activists coming up with a conference in Belgium, a conference by women's group, conference in May, a conference in Ghana, a conference in Canada. I am a little concerned. That this is all about grandstanding to have some relevance in any process. That's my concern. Ambazonians are very selfish, highly selfish. They just do not see themselves fusing together to come up with a single agenda. Who are activists? If you are listening to me, tell me who you are that you think that you can exclude others, and then get a few people, a few activists of one or two are gathered together, hold a conference, and you come out and say that activists have gathered in Belgium and have resolved for who? For who? If activists believe they matter, they should inject themselves into these conferences. Let them come out and advocate for a single conference, one people, one conference, ladies and gentlemen. And unfortunately, I don't know what is happening. We are almost being shut down. We've been shut down several times by Facebook in the course of this broadcast, and see that happening again. But Comrade Sama, I'd like you to take a comment on this conference here by there, especially so-called activist conference. Since this struggle started, I have not seen activists, even in their good old days when they were very vibrant, come up to say, let's come together and put together a conference to help this process. No, suddenly there is maybe the potential of negotiation, and activists want to put together a conference. This is ridiculous, and you are listening to me. Sama, please go on.
The Nigerian comedian will say funny people. I don't understand what is going wrong with Southern Cameroonians. Like you've said, conferences here and there. I'm a little bit. I got a different opinion from that of my fellow comrade Njiban. You are welcome. Had it been Southern Cameroonians were holding their conference there to discuss on their position about negotiations with La Republic tomorrow, I will accept. And La Republic is also holding his there or us there to negotiate on how to meet the people of Southern Cameroon. I will accept. But the tell you that Southern Cameroonians who are pretending to be talking about the same story are holding conferences from left to right. It is problematic. Let me put it in an economic aspect. You who is coming to Brussels, that you are coming there for the conference, calling yourself activists. When we now decide to come to the United States in May, will you be going to the United States in May to attend that conference or what? Those who organized theirs in July, would they be in the United States in May, and in July they are going to attend another conference or what? If that is going to be the case, are we not penny wise and pounds, or pounds foolish and, well, how do you put it? Penny wise and pounds foolish. So all those things are just causing confusion where there should be no confusion. The activists, they were sincere enough that they are coming to talk about unity. We're going on now, conference of May in the United States, they could have said, like we gathered here in Brussels in 2017, that we need all the leaders to come together. When we met in Brussels, the information reached us that the purpose of gathering in Brussels has already been reached in Nigeria. We met, adopted that position of Nigeria. But in this case, a conference has been organized to bring together all the leaders in America in May, and in April, activists are converging to Brussels to come and sit to talk about what? Are these activist leaders? Because the information which they put out there was, oh, during the days of the activists, we were collecting money, sending to ground one, helping the people in ground zero, and the struggle was going on well. So let us return to 2016, 2017. Is that possible? Have these activists become policymakers for the people of Southern Cameroons? I've asked them this question here in Belgium for those who are pretending, burying their head into sand, as if they don't know that they are entire outside. That we must not be pretending by supporting wrong things. If it is wrong, we should call it by the name it is wrong. For if I was involved, I would say the activist conference in Brussels was called off while we did that in Washington. If I was God, those that have geared that or planned that just for July, they should merge it up with what is going on in Washington comes May 7th. For they are going to say the same thing, if at all. We as the same people are saying the same thing and heading toward the same direction.
I think you are very correct, but let me get to Comrade Jiban before I open the phone lines. Comrade, shouldn't these activists, if they are really serious, be reaching out to every group and saying, hey, this is the time for everybody to come together, sit on the table, and we figure out our agenda. I mean, these conferences do not exclude these activists. Why can't they see it this way? Comrade Jiban, before I open the phone lines.
Thank you very much, Comrade Chris, and thank you very much for those remarks, Comrade Sama. Well, these are for everybody, but you know, in Ambazonia, there's been this since 2016, maybe before, but it really came to light in 2017. There's a certain high horsing behavior by certain individuals, right? They've already carved out a niche for themselves. They don't see themselves as the same as everybody else. You know, they are policymakers. They are decision makers. Their opinions that they voice becomes policy, becomes the decision of the collective. And I'm not saying that is right. I'm only analyzing that is the notion that some people have been operating on. I mean, a cross section of the activists. If you really ask them what they think to be an activist, they think they are policymakers, opinions that, you know, I agree, they are opinion leaders in a sense. But your opinion does not automatically become policy. It becomes policy with the consent of the people. So, again, coming to the aspect of their meeting in April, I would differ with Comrade Sama a little bit in the sense that they have to meet to strategize. Every work group have to meet in their own little niche to talk about their affairs, to talk about things that, talk about communication, talk about activism, talk about how they can make, you know, inroads, breakthrough, and influence the struggle or move us towards the freedom agenda. I have no objection to that.
The problem is that The problem is that they have been very biased. I mean, these so-called activists, so biased that it is hard for anybody to take anything or respect anything that they say, because they flip-flop like, I don't know how to describe it. They are here today, tomorrow they are there. They are ancestors, they are youths today, tomorrow they are ancestors. And they give them all these names. Teenagers, in that matter, some of them.
Unfortunately, that is the nature of activism, and that is the social media age that we live in right now, right? Because everybody can have a microphone, everybody can have a platform, everybody can have a studio if you really want to have one. Even the people that are on for it, they have studios. In Amazonia, we have, you know, people with studios that have never trained for anything. And that can be very dangerous too. If you don't train for a job and you're doing that job, you can be harmed to yourself and to your
To the
community.
public.
Yes. So and to the world at large. So,
You are
but
doing that to
again,
the
that's
public.
something that we are still coming to terms with, because it's a new phenomenon in the whole world. I mean, you people here in the United States and in Europe, where you are, coming from, everywhere you see some people just come on any kind of thing, you know, that can be very damaging to humanity. But they have that liberty to do, unfortunately. But again, as people who have sense, who want to where it is incumbent upon us to continue to persuade them that this is not the right path you're on. Grandstanding will not get us there. Arrogating will not get anyone there. None of us should arrogate anything. That's why we have all humbled ourselves and said, let us all meet in one place. All of us that are on this show now, we are agreeing that we can all meet with those people without any fear, without any. But some other
Seriously.
people don't feel like they can meet with us or anybody else. Their divine job, as granted to them by quote unquote God, is for them to be leaders and then begin to make edicts to the people, to the rest of the other people. It is wrong. It's a bad behavior. Uh, Typically, when I talk to those kind of people, I ask them, "Who made you king? Who made you king?" You know.
All
So
right.
that's
Uh, Comrades, thank you. Please, I will ask you if you have so much more time left. Stay put. I'm going to open the phone lines at this moment to allow Ground Zero to contribute to the show. And but remember that before you call, make sure that the volume of your TV set is shut down. Please make sure the volume of your TV set is shut down before you call, because if you call listening to your TV, there will be a delay, and I can't sit on the phone saying hello, hello, hello to get you connected to me here. So make sure that you shut down the volume of your TV set before you go ahead and call. The phone line is right there on the screen. All right, let me get to the first caller here. Hello.
Hello, Comrade.
Hello, sir. Where are you calling from?
Um, I'm calling from Kumba.
You are calling from Kumba.
Pronouncing
Okay, what is in your mind, sir?
Kumba. I always love this show. I don't.
Yes, go on, please.
One of the things I would advise that, one of the things would be that, Comrade, you always mention Foncha in a negative way in your talks, and it's not pleasant in one sense, in the sense that you don't remember how the Western international community teamed up against Foncha and his team, and it was not easy. Even us today will find it difficult to go through. But that aside, this is one of the best talks I've had relating to this situation we are now bogged in. Ayabacho, we shouldn't be hiding people. Ayabacho, and each time I have opportunity to talk back to you people, I always mention that Ayabacho is a self-made leader of this revolution. Who made him? He has now appointed a few lackeys to follow him, Benista and the other journalist man. Who are they? These are people without a following. In fact, Comrade Sama is on the right pitch, and those of us who are on ground zero here, the average man, we are exactly thinking the way Comrade Sama is thinking. And that we should, all these groups, exactly like you have outlined, should come to a conference, open hand and minded. And that is where the agenda will be drawn as to how to lead the way forward in these negotiations, if at all negotiations is part of the thing I have in mind now. By the way, we shouldn't totally focus all our minds on negotiation. God, the Republic is not even ready.
You are very correct.
We should be prepared to keep on fighting. We shouldn't be begging all along.
Right.
Well, when we keep talking about negotiations, Ayabacho is building a mythical nation. He's talking about structures and this. We don't see those things on the ground here. Talking about, you see old vehicles which are dilapidated and blown up somewhere. He shows clips about them. Cuts some of your videos, small sections of your videos, which he wants to use as, and then he has two songbirds, his go-bells, Capo Daniel, and his other songbird. If any of you ever read Animal Farm, Squilla, Lucas Asu. They are pouring propaganda like mad. We've never seen this in any revolution.
Do they realize? Hold on there, hold on there, sir.
Sorry, please.
Hold on there, sir. Hold on there, sir.
Okay.
Do they realize? I mean, you are not the first person, the second person, or third person calling this show to indict these guys. Don't they realize that you on ground zero, you are smarter and you know exactly what they are trying to do? Hello?
Yes, I'm getting you. The problem is that some of them are so deluded with this idea of doctor this, doctor that. I'm an old man, and I've watched revolutions, right from the 50s till now, and what has been going on in Cameroon. In fact, we are the last generation to know exactly, without having to read any book, about what happened in this country. So Ayabacho priding himself 35 years of experience. Where did he have that 35 years of experience? How old is he? How old is Apanga? Please, let us, I like the approach you are taking, since you took over ahead of this.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for the call.
You are looking at this of the groups fighting for our independence. The sacrifice your family alone, including you, has made. All the talk Ayabacho and his comrades are bringing in all these propaganda men. It's like running another sea like the agent's table. You will not watch the agent's table that way. It will not do anything to dent your efforts. Keep on this way. Avoid criticizing them, but point out their errors. Let's not focus on the kind of propaganda they are doing.
Right.
Ground zero is in line with much of what you are doing, and exactly what Comrade Sama is saying. I'm a bit sorry. I'm really very frank when I'm talking these things. Our second speaker there is on track, but trying in some directions, trying to speak from both sides of his mouth. No. We have got the point. We have got to be very straight. We on ground. I'm just a secondary school leaver.
All right.
I don't want to let you know me very well, but
all right.
I know this politics very well, and I have friends here who know. So please try to maneuver your friends out there.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. Thank you for the call. Let me get to other callers. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Let's see who is next, and this is Ground Zero. Hello.
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. President.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from, please?
Yeah, I'm calling from Ground Zero.
Which county?
Meme County.
Meme County. Wonderful. That is K-Town. And what is in your mind, sir?
Yeah, what is in my mind is that when they are talking of collaboration, we Ambazonians, we should know that it's not everybody that will collaborate.
Yes.
That is just how it is. But I want to plead with the interim government, as you being the leader, that you people should look for the right people that they have Ambazonia at heart, that you people should collaborate with, so that we can take this war, we can win this war and go to Boya with less than no time.
All right. I hear you. Thank you. We will do our best. We will keep on doing our best. And if need be, we will put together a coalition of the willing, and we will move on.
Yes. So there is a saying that says that it is not the majority that win the fight, but it's the few people that stand for the truth that will win the fight. You remember in the Bible, you have the Gideon army. There was 32, but it was 3,000 that was elected to go and fight that war and win the fight. And 29 were taken out of the election. So it is not the majority that win the war. It's the
All right.
that stand for the truth who win the war.
All right. Thank you. I hear you. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, have a good night, sir.
All right. You too. Okay. Let's go to, I think this is Germany. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Comrade. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. You're calling from Germany. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah, very correct. You also greet Comrade Sama for me also.
All right, sure.
Maybe he knows who is talking from Liverpool.
Okay. He's hearing you. Go
on. Good. Comrade Chris, long time I've not participated in your show, but I have to because of this theme. The theme is a very important theme. I've been singing this thing all over because of these power mongers. Ayabache and Akwanga, those are two power mongers in this our struggle. And if we don't do something before we reach Boya, there will be a bloodbath in Boya. I would like Ambazonians to take this very, very seriously, because those are power mongers. And they want only their say that they want the Ambazonia people to listen to them. That said, I have a question to ask you, because calling for this conference let me go first of all to the activist conference in Belgium. I think we should give the activists a chance to hold a conference. Maybe they have to strategize, as one of your panel members said. They've not refused to attend any conference in the US. We shouldn't start giving them a bad name. Let them hold a conference. Maybe they'll come up with certain resolutions from Belgium that would carry them further, maybe to I don't know whether to May or to July, as the power mongers are talking about. Okay, that said, with the Belgium conference, I would like to ask you, because you said you send out invitations to all the stakeholders in this our revolution, and if you don't want to call yourself also a power monger, I would like you to confirm here or to deny whether you sent the invitations to people that you don't really see eye to eye with, like President Marianta and President Saku. Can you please give a light on that point, please?
That's a good question. If I may ask you, though, who are they president to?
It doesn't matter.
No, answer the question. Don't say it doesn't matter. Who are they president to?
It's the same as somebody will ask, who are you president to? It doesn't matter.
The interim government, if you ask that question, the answer is, I am leader of the interim government that is backed by the Restoration Council. Listen, let me hold on. Let me explain this to you, because I know quite a number of you out there ask that question. When we set up structures, it is our place to obey them, to respect them, else We are just trying to do the same thing that La République du Cameroon is doing, calling it democracy. This interim government is backed by a restoration council. Leaders do not come on board by themselves. They are elected from the day of Sisiko up till today. And when a leader is put out and he moves about, create something called interim government. Are you saying that tomorrow when Chris Anu is taken out, he should move aside and form an interim government and be called president too? Is that what you mean?
Let me answer.
Thank you for the call. So I need to take some. Okay, go ahead. Briefly.
Yeah, let me answer, because even if you are removed today, you still have your followers. No matter.
No, I don't have followers. They are followers of the interim government. That's where you made the error. I don't have followers.
Inviting them to a conference means you are inviting their followers.
No, it's not their followers. We are inviting all Ambazonians. Even if they themselves should walk in, nobody puts them out. Does that make sense?
You were talking of organizing and executing the conference, forming committees.
The committees, please, you didn't get me right. The committees, no, hold on. Don't go with that misconception. Hold on. I didn't say anybody has formed committees. I said when I talked about committees, I was referring to committees that the other guys, the big four in quote.
That's what I'm saying also, yeah.
Right. So those committees are not formed by us. Hold on. Those committees are not formed by us. We are asking everybody, including your Marianta and Sago, if they want to come, they're welcome to come. So we are not forming any committees. We want the leaders to sit on the table and decide on the way forward, not individuals, not groups doing that. I hope that makes a lot of sense. I have to run, sir. I have to take other calls. Thank you. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Maryland.
Maryland. All right. I see your number. Okay. What is your contribution, sir?
Yes, sir. I listen to your presentation, and I'll first like to say we appreciate all you've been doing. But at this point, we have been shooting ourselves on the leg. Why I said so is that it doesn't matter on who is the leader. It doesn't matter of who does what. It doesn't matter of who brings what in the table. Everybody cannot come to the table at the same time. Everybody cannot do that. What we've engaged in the past 5 years is a bloodbath. We failed to learn so much from the war going on in Ukraine. We listened former president of Ukraine said the other day that despite what President Zelensky is a brother, we fail to acknowledge one another as a brother. We fail to acknowledge each other as a brother. Calling people names, social media is not helping.
All right, hold on there, comrade. Hold on there, comrade. Let me clarify a misconception that I believe you are having there. I didn't say all leaders. If I use that word, I use it just in general terms. We are saying Ambazonia independence cannot be determined by a few figureheads. Do you agree that somebody who has not following, comrade, should be the one sitting on that negotiation table representing you? Who are his advisors? Who is listening to him? Instead, what we are proposing is, at least, if all people cannot come together, let the major leaders, groups, stakeholders come together. If we have, say, 25 groups and 15 that matter come together, that is okay. That is okay. And when you talk about, I think it is naive to want to suggest that we just believe on everybody. Comrade, we have been running this war for 6 years and counting, and we know exactly who is who in this struggle. And if you mean, for example, when somebody run from one country to the other and want to sign a deal for all of us, unilaterally, no consultations. And if you are naive enough to suppose that we'll just let people run away with it, knowing their history, I mean, you are absolutely out of place. Go ahead, please.
No, that's not what I'm stating.
Okay.
That's not what I'm stating. Why I said so is that each and everyone matters on this struggle, and we should not be targeting people, or we should not be thinking that a solution should come from this people. And more so, if we are agreeing to come together, it's not to come together for any dialogue or mediation, because that is not forthcoming at this point. If you know, as everybody knows, or
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Who have been observing the struggle, or any person who have been exposed to a lot of things apart from what is going on, you will be able to tell us that negotiations not going to happen anytime soon. And even if we are negotiating, on which basis are we negotiating? On which? And the coming together should not even be based on negotiations.
No, you are very correct.
Strategy.
Yeah, you're very correct. Thank you for the call, sir. Let me see if I can get to other callers. Hello. All right, you dropped the call. All right, the phone line is open, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody says, Mr. President, I am not allowed to comment, but that caller is ignorant. Let him go, please. All right. I don't know why you are not allowed to comment. Facebook is giving us lots of hard times, dwindling the numbers and shutting down the broadcast time and again. Good evening, sir. Please tell the Ambazonian people on Ground Zero on the TV that people should know General No PT didn't die. Who said General No PT died? As far as we know, General No PT is alive and strong. Okay? Of course, you will hear it from us if that was the case. Comrade, I don't see. All right, let me get to. All right, the phone line is still open, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get this from Ground Zero. Hello. 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 All right, I guess this guy is listening on TV. I will have to drop him. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Where are you calling from, please? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hello, I can hear.
From Ground Zero.
Which county?
I'm calling from. I'm in La Republic.
In the foreign territory. Okay. What is your contribution,
Yes.
sir?
Yes, I have a lot to say, but I will just brief here.
You have 1 minute.
Yes, I've been listening from your station, and these people hear me, secretary. I'm a child of God. I'm a pastor. Hear me. These people are not fighting for Ambazonia. Anybody that is fighting for Ambazonia, he will stand forward, and we are on Ground Zero. We are seeing them. We know what they are fighting for. They are fighting for money. And that is why the struggle is dying down. They are not saying anything. They are not doing anything. And they are just there to pursue one another. Even although you are showing on your screen people that are dying, it doesn't bother to them. People that are suffering, it doesn't bother to them. They are just there only to insult one another like ABC. They are just there calling people's name and what. I hear those people that are calling that they should not stay out. They should come in Ground Zero and be making those things, claiming grammar for you. Let nobody should claim grammar for you. We are standing, and I want to tell you today, see, we want bombs. Just send me a number on WhatsApp. We want bombs and contribute the money. We don't want these things that people are dying and people are there saying all these stupid things on the TV and they are blaming you. Stand for it. We are standing for you. Ambazonians are hearing me. Stand. We are standing for you. We buy the bomb. We bomb. Look at Mountain Race that happened to where nothing happened there. We need to throw one and everything scatter. What are we waiting for? These people will not help us. They are killing us. Here's somebody that died in Yaoundé. The whole of their station is being announced. Our children have died in Kumba. They have died in so many places. What have they gone for them? Are they talking for them? Who are these people that are killing Ambazonians? The blood of Ambazonia is going to haunt them. Let them know it. And anybody that is taking money from Ambazonia because he's running, he's doing that, let them go on S side. There are refugees on S side and they don't have any say. Better here. We should stand for the fight and fight for Ambazonia. And they should stop all this rubbish.
All
It is
right.
too much.
Thank
Don't
you.
go to any conference. Hear me. There is a conference, any conference that is organized in Africa, don't step there. Hear me well. This is spiritual. Don't step there. Any conference that you don't know the line, don't go there. These people are evil. Let me tell you, this is spiritual. They are evil.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. But let me assure you, if it is me on their TV set 24/7, you can tell from that for them, it is not about a common enemy, La République du Cameroon. It is a fight to get rid of Chris. I know. Unfortunately, I have resisted them for 6 years.
We know. You are standing for us. You are standing for us. They are not standing for anybody. They are standing for destruction, confusion. Let me tell you, unity doesn't mean that we come together. Leave it. Anybody should stand on his own.
No, you are right. You are right. You know, some people
on the table that is not standing for Ambazonia is an enemy to us.
You know,
and that is why this thing is taking long.
You know, some people have said to us, let's just dissolve all these groups and let's just come together as one. Sounds very enticing, so good, looks nice. If we just all come together as one, isn't it? We come together as one and you surrender it to people who will take us back to La République du Cameroun, because they're going to be given a ministerial position and with their cronies, then the struggle is dead and gone and all our people would have fought and died for nothing. So, but I want to assure all of you that I have enough thick skin. I have enough thick skin to contain all their insults and stones thrown at yours truly. Nothing will move me out of here. When my time is over here, I will step down. The Restoration Council will probably conduct new elections and get somebody to replace me. But take note, I'm not forming an interim government. Never.
Anything that you are saying is right. Anything that you are saying is right. Even that caller that called and he was talking about Marianta and Sako, don't listen to those people. Those are the people that are killing people on the ground here. Don't listen. Why are these people fighting for any Ambazonia?
All right. Thank you for the call. Let me rush and get other callers, okay? I appreciate it. God bless.
Thank you too.
Yeah.
All right. Comrade Sama, you have anything to add there, please? You hold on. Let's get to this caller first and you can comment after that. Hello.
Okay.
Hello. Well, that caller is not picking the call. Hello. Not picking the call. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, Comrade Chris.
Good afternoon, sir. This must be the one and only Mike Fusi.
You got it.
All right. I know you are calling from Pennsylvania. Am I correct? Yes. What is in your mind, sir?
Yes. I could not resist taking part in this on this show because the topics that are being discussed here are very, very critical, and we have to take things serious. The first thing I would like to address the issue of activists. I really don't know how many prominent activists we have out there now, because it seems people have converted themselves into either policy makers. Some have become politicians. Some have become surrogates. And they have kind of left the responsibilities that an activist is supposed to do, which is to call it as they see it. Be able to call it as they see it, that is what activists are supposed to do. But I don't know anyone out there now that you can say is actually doing that. I cannot think of anybody. Are there any activists still left out there?
That is a question. That is a question I ask. That is a question I asked. Few years ago, activists were very relevant in this cause, but the people who call themselves activists today are like prostitutes who are here today, there tomorrow, say one thing today, say one thing tomorrow. They lack consistency and relevancy at this moment. I think if they are honest to themselves, join the bandwagon. Let us have one Ambazonia conference. Go on, sir.
Yes, my second point will concern Ayabacho and his purported conferences and his good friends of four. Now, one thing we must understand, and Brazilians need to understand, that the only reason that these people are afraid of coming together with other leaders where decisions can be taken by a majority vote is because they know that they have done unsavory things and they have alienated themselves to their Ambazonian people. And they know that when they are seated in the same hall with genuine Ambazonians, it will be difficult for them to convince a good number of people to follow them. They have a few surrogates out there making noise behind them, but a vast majority of the people detest these people because of the havoc, the pain and suffering that they have caused to our people. They know this very well, and that is why they are so averse to coming together where decisions can be made by majority vote. My second point is this, about this. Good things are always put out in the public so people can see, but bad things are kept in the dark. When people are trying to hide things behind the scenes and they don't want people to know what they are doing, it is because they know that what they are doing is not right. If they were proud that Ambazonians will appreciate the things they are doing, they will not hesitate to come out and put these things in public. Let's understand this. And lastly, when I look at the way Ayabacho is playing this game, and I look at the likes of Jomba Koro, a man who, I believe if you were to conduct a vote in Jomba Koro's own family, he will be hard pressed to get his family to all line up behind him. But yet, he's one of the big fours. So, I feel sorry for people like that. And the Yerimas, even Akwanga, the way I see Ayaba playing them is, when to me, it gives me the impression of a shuttle flight. You know, when a shuttle flight is going up, the space shuttle is taking off. You have the fuel tanks on the side accompanying the space shuttle. At some point in the air, where the plane can now has attained weightlessness and can fly much more easily, those fuel tanks break up and fall back to the ground. Jomba Akoro, Yerima, and even to a lesser extent, Akwanga are like these fuel tanks that Ayaba wants to ride up to a certain altitude and drop them. So he can now be the only person to fly into space. I hope they understand. I hope they understand this narrative I've just given them.
I hope they do too.
I hope that one day they will pay me for this advice I'm giving them. Let them listen.
All right.
Thank you, comrades, and my regards to Honorable Sama and Comrade Jiban who are accompanying you today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the call. You have a great night.
Thank you.
All right. The phone line is still open, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead. I have about 15 minutes to call it a day. So go ahead and place your call. Let's see who is next. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir. Where are you calling from, please?
Well, sorry for taking a bit of your time. This actually, I was a man who called first when you opened this show, and I want to give you one small lesson to take home. Now, if you do a straw poll, the theme I echoed on when I opened the line was simple. We should not concentrate on this Ayabacho and Kangwa problem. All the speakers from Ground Zero, they have echoed that same thing to you, and they've made it clear that we are behind you. It's Ground Zero that is important for you to get the feel what is really going on here, not US or Europe and so on. It's from here you get the feel of what is really going on here. We are behind you. We are behind what Comrade Sama is saying there, and that is the way forward. We should not concentrate on arguing with Abayabacho. He's running a one-man show. He wants to be leader at all costs. He wants to be called president, CIC, 35 years experience, and of course, forget about that. The last advice I will give. We can also have our own, what do you call the other man who runs a one-man show?
Akuro.
Akuro. Let's have our own Akuros. Comrade, don't know that stuff. We can invite Ikome, we can invite Marianta, invite them in their personal names. They are opinion leaders of sorts in their personal names.
Yeah, right.
Akuro is representing who? So invite them in their personal names, not as interim government. If they have contributions, they will make. If they don't have, they will sit there like Akuro and go out too.
All right.
That's the little advice.
Thank you. Thank you.
The voices from Ground Zero.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, sir. Hello. Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Fako.
All right. And what is in your mind?
Okay. All the time we're talking about collaboration for 6 years now. I think by now we should know who is for it or not. We should know which group is for the revolution or not. For 6 years now, we keep following these people that don't want to belong. We follow them behind for 6 years now. We still follow them behind. I think the most important thing for us now is to organize the ground. Organize the ground. Ground zero leadership is very, very lacking. But people in the diaspora, they are manipulating the few people that have given up their lives to do this thing. They are manipulating them and making them to derail them from it. So we should organize the ground so that people that wants to fight should come on the ground and fight from the ground. We saw what the Ukrainians were doing at the beginning of their war. They were leaving the diaspora and going home to volunteer. Some of you people are abroad there, you have a military experience. You have it, but leadership is lacking on the ground here, and nobody wants to come and do it. So,
if I may ask you, you are making a relevant point. But if I may ask you, are you trying to say that let's just go with the stats that we have out there, that we are 8 million of us. Let's assume we have 7.5 million or 7 million on the ground. Are you saying that somebody should come from the ground, from the diaspora, and lead on Ground Zero with 7 million people on the ground?
No, what I mean is organizing the ground. That organization is so lacking. Very, very lacking. So that leadership on the ground is so lacking. If somebody can be empowered on the ground to do it, then that will be great.
I don't think, Comrade, you have a good idea, but I don't think the problem is organizing it. Leaders are born, they are not made. Look at in the early 90s, everybody was so scared of the CPDM machine, but Frundi defied all the odds and stood up and said, if I die, let me die. We are looking for somebody who will emerge like that on ground zero. I bet you we will all fall behind that person. Look at Honorable Weber. Weber came up with something that sparked this fire that we see today. If anybody says he wasn't the escalator, that person is a liar. He put a lot of courage in the minds and hearts of people to stand up. And the consortium came up to take it over. He played a role. The consortium came up. Comrades, we're not going to make leaders on the ground. We want leaders to emerge on the ground. So that way they are doing it forcefully and not coerced to do anything. Do you understand that? But this is not to kick against. This is not to kick against your idea of, if possible, people coming from the diaspora to Ground Zero to fight. I mean, we have so many military veterans here in the U.S. and in Europe who have fought in wars, and they will tell you how much they love Ambazonia. But money, they don't contribute. Services, you don't see it. But listen. Will we keep on fighting and doing the best that we can do? One thing I know is that Cameroon can keep on saying the war is over, the war is over, the war is over, getting women to go to the streets and march. Listen, the international community knows that until a treaty is reached, the war is not over. If we are only left two of us, maybe myself and Sama Thomas still talking about this, that war is not over. Thank you for the call. Okay, who is next here? Hello. Hello. All right, the caller has dropped. The phone line is still open, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and make your call. I have a few minutes to go. Hello. Hello.
Chris, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from, please?
From Mezam, thank you.
From Mezam, okay. And what is the contribution?
Yeah, I want to first of all say thank you for sacrificing your time and money and everything, even your family, for the freedom of Amazonian people. I think that we owe you much. I have heard your talking point and what is going on right now. I want to think that activists like Mark Barata, Tapang Ivor, those who actually started off this fight, they shouldn't think that if they don't continue to show that they are leaders, it will be forgotten about them. Once a leader, you remain a leader. So
Correct.
Whether you are in power, you are in control, you are not in control, once a leader, you are a leader. I think that under normal circumstances, if you, being the leader of the interim government, if you are convening a conference, it is possible that you will call Mark Barata, please, I am convening a conference. Your presence there is very important. You are calling him is in recognition to the fact that he contributed to the struggle, and he is still contributing to the struggle, which is what we are looking for. But
those are the people we are calling stakeholders. Those are the people we refer to as stakeholders. So I just want you to know that.
Yes. So, but if they are going by themselves and constituting themselves as activists, and putting up a conference. I don't think that it is good. I think that they were supposed to queue behind those that actually are in the leadership position now and support them, morally support them, financially support them. In any way, you can also use Mark Barata in a diplomatic work. You could use Mark Barata. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that.
All right, I hear you. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome.
Okay. The line is open, and I have 5 minutes more to go. 5 minutes more to go. Let's get to ground zero. Hello. Hello.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. President.
Good evening, ma'am. You're the first woman to call from ground zero for a long time.
From Mezam.
Wonderful. All right, go on, ma'am. What is in your mind?
Yes, I want to appreciate you and your congrats. They were the day.
Thank you.
Yes, I appreciate you. And we always pray for you. Say, may God keep you long. No matter the Judah X career where the day for you behind, they know if you ever succeed you. And when they inside the interim government, we pray for una. No man of you ever touch una. Anyone will remember when they will backfire in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Yes. We'll continue to pray for una for that interim government, especially you. May God guide you, protect you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And let's pray.
Stay blessed. Stay blessed.
Thank you. Let's pray also that all the plans of La République du Cameroon will come to naught. God should set confusion in their camps. And,
Amen.
and nothing that they plan and agree should materialize. And let's pray also that they will listen to Diodone Isomba, one of their own, who keeps on singing to them and telling them they have no military solution to this conflict. Let's pray that God open their ears to listen.
Yes, he will listen.
All right. Thank you.
Would you pray to made that someone for them, made a change, then they turn back?
Absolutely. If they don't change, God can just decide to see them out. All right. Thank you for the call. All right.
Okay. Yeah. God bless you.
Thank you. Hello. The plans of La République du Cameroon will come to naught. God should set confusion in their camps.
Hello.
Can you shut down the volume of your TV set, please?
Yes.
All right. Where are you calling from, please?
Yes, Chris, good evening. I'm calling from Cyprus.
Cyprus. Okay. Thank you. Good evening. And what is your contribution?
Yeah, I want to thank you first for what you are doing. In fact, to really keep Ambazonia in alert with regards to the revolution. Yeah, this issue of coming together for Ambazonia. Not everybody will come together. Those who have Ambazonia at heart will come together. And the power mongers, they will never come together, because when they come together, they will not be seen. Also, the most important thing is for Ambazonia to galvanize themselves and think for a way forward. And the way forward is not the leadership, not this person, not this person. The way forward is the war. And the fact that La République is trying to penetrate us, that is the way I'm looking at it. Then another way is that somebody cannot be entering in your house every day, beating you, every day fighting you. No matter how strong you are, you'll be weak. I've said this thing time without number. We should not give. We Ambazonia, we are not angry enough with La République.
Yeah.
Because if we are really maybe sending some signals or sending some bullet inside La Republic, the international community would have been trying to look at it. La Republic themselves, they would have been trying to look at it. We should not just allow that the international community, they said we should not cross border and so on and so forth. That is just that our boys are strong. If not that they are strong, La Republic are weak enough. We should do something great to the Republic that they will never forget. They will like to go for negotiation, whether they like it or not. So that is the way I look at it. And the only people that can do that is interim government. Let's forget about the Ayaba and all the rest. They are just noisemakers.
All right.
And fighting Ambazonia in order to rule where they have not done anything. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the call. Thank you for the call. All right. All right, that will be the last caller, ladies and gentlemen. Comrade Sama, and we have lost Comrade Jiban, but you are still here. Give us in the next 2 minutes your last comment on the show.
Thank you, Comrade Chris. My last comment on the show is that the people in Granwan should know that we will never be tired of calling our brothers who seems to be going their own direction to reasoning. That doesn't necessarily mean that without them we cannot still move forward. Then secondly, I want also to make Southern Cameroonians know that La Republic has never in any way treated us as humans from day one. There was a situation in the university, in all the universities in La Republic Cameroon, about 20 years ago, when it spills over to Boya, 4 Southern Cameroonians were killed in the University of, and these their proconsuls, when one was interviewed, he said those that were killed, like from Bafut, his parents were going to born another child again. That is the fate of the Southern Cameroonian people. Even the church in La Republic, the Catholic Church, Abandonmo, when the Southern Cameroons unified with La Republic Cameroon in the 60s, Abandonmo made a statement that to keep these people of the Southern Cameroons under subjugation, Bamilikis or La Republican citizens must get married to the women of the Southern Cameroons so as to infiltrate them as such and keep them under subjugation. Why though the men that will cross over to La Republic as workers or ministers, whatever, should be given wives from La Republic, like the Atananjis, the Christopher Sailai, the Philomena Young, or they call them what, all of them having La Republican citizens as wives. That is how we were infiltrated. Take the case of Wazizi now. Wazizi was killed. Nobody ever complained about the death of Wazizi. And now it's Martinez in Zobo. All the hell has broken loose in La Republic for a human being has been touched in La Republic. The blood of all Southern Cameroonians mean nothing, even if we are all massacred. What happened in Nyos in 1986? The thing we've forgotten of it. All the numerous massacres that they've committed in the Southern Cameroons with the ongoing massacre or genocide which is going on now. Southern Cameroons to stand up, for there is nobody who will come to defend you. We are going to defend ourselves. No God is going to do it for us. We will do it while God comes behind us or go in front of us to protect us from the eyes of the enemy while we deal with the enemy.
All right. Thank you, Honorable Sama, for being part of the show. Look forward to having you next time. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all that we have for the show today. And I look forward to being back with you maybe on Friday. But until then, all of you should remain strong and encouraged. This war is not over till it is over. We must continue to prove to the world and to La République du Cameroon that we mean business. We mean business until we have grabbed back that piece of land from the Mongo to Inkambe that belongs to us We are not giving up. We are not giving up. Not with what we are seeing with the treatment of our own. Again, we have said it here again and again. Look at the way they treated the killing of the one journalist and the way they treated the killing of our own Samuel Wazizi. How can we, seeing that, think that we should turn back? We should surrender. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot surrender. We cannot surrender. Thank you for tuning in. We are going to replay this show on Ground Zero again and again and again, because we know that some of you, when the show is coming up, they will shut down electricity, but don't be afraid. We'll play it on satellite as many times and on the Roku as many times as we can. Thank you for tuning in. God bless and good night.